Hello and welcome to my Camino. I'm Richard and I'm going to be walking the Camino de Santiago de Tenerife over the next 5 days. Just started about an hour and a half ago down in Santa Cruz, which is over there, and I'm going to be working my way down to the south of the island over that way, following the Camino de Santiago de Tenerife and ending up in Los Gigantes. Okay, off we go. The Camino de Santiago de Tenerife is a pilgrimage route on the Spanish island of Tenerife, about 200 miles off the coast of Africa. The Camino begins in the north of the island at Santa Cruz and weaves its way southwest along ancient trading routes towards Puerto de Santiago on the opposite coast. The route is about 115 kilometres in length and usually takes between 5 and 6 days to complete. The Spanish conquistadors began their final conquest of Tenerife in 1494. They landed on a beach in the north of the island and built a military camp and chapel there. The camp grew and became the city of Santa Cruz, and the chapel was replaced with a church, the Church of the Immaculate Conception. It's here that the Camino begins, in the centre of this bustling port city. After climbing up through a maze of ever steeper streets and alleyways, I finally reached the Red Cave and the first off-road section of the trail. Here the Camino joins the Lecheras trail, the old path that the milkmaids followed when bringing milk down from the high pastures in the mountains to the city below. Two things I've just remembered. Number one, Spanish hikes are insane. And number two, I don't like heights. So yeah, this is fun. This is fun. Ooh. The steep climb up from Santa Cruz took longer than expected, and it was close to sunset before I finally reached the outskirts of San Cristobal de la Laguna, my home for the night. So it's day 2, and as you can see, we're in a completely different environment to the one that we were in yesterday. Whereas yesterday it was full of cacti, sparse vegetation, dry, arid sort of ground. Today we're up high on the top, about 1,000 meters up, and I'm surrounded by forest. It's been raining all afternoon. Set off this morning from San Cristobal de la Laguna about 9 o'clock. I headed through the suburbs and then past the airport. It was quite hectic, quite busy. Then walked up the hill to La Esperanza, which is the last point that you can actually get supplies before you hit this forest for a good day and a half. So make sure you resupply there. And then I headed up. As soon as I left La Esperanza, I actually went up into the clouds, and then from then onwards it's been raining most of the afternoon for about 2-3 hours. It's just stopped now, and actually just about see, maybe you can see it over there, some brightness in the sky. So hopefully I won't be getting soaked tonight in my tent. Heading along to one of the government campsites that's free of charge, about another mile or so this way, maybe a little bit less. If you wanted to book one of those, you need to book it. You can't just turn up, but it's all free. Just do it online. I'll put a link on the on the blog. Yep. So there we go. Let's keep going. I can go have some food. One of the things I love about this part of the trail is that it's got a complete sense of isolation and calm. You can't really see much because you're surrounded by trees. There's no mobile phone signal for half of it. It's really quiet because the wind comes over the other part of the island, so it's really calm. And all you've really got is the birds and the sound of raindrops hitting the floor. It's really serene. I really like it. By far the biggest concern on this Camino is the scarcity of water. Due to the porous nature of the volcanic rock, there's almost no surface water whatsoever, so I was careful to fill up my water bottle whenever I could. Also, there are no dedicated signposts or direction markers for the Camino anywhere on the trail, so for navigation I mostly relied on GPS mapping apps on my phone. They're definitely right when they said it's the wetter side of Tenerife, because it is hammering it down. Well, it's 9 o'clock in the morning on day 3, and I spent that much time walking in the clouds and the mist and the rain that I'd almost given up on ever seeing Mount Teide. And yet I've just walked round the corner this beautiful morning, and there it is. Well, after 2 days of near isolation, camping and hiking in the forest, I've finally reached Chanahiga, which means I get to head down the mountain to Los Realhos, find myself a warm bed, some food, and hopefully a beer. Let's go. After a grueling 4,500 foot descent, I finally arrive at the Church of St. James the Apostle in Real Alto, the birthplace of the Camino de Santiago de Tenerife. It was here on the 25th of July 1496 that the 9 Guanche kings converted to Christianity, finally completing the Spanish conquest of the Canaries after almost 100 years. So I had to make an early start this morning due to my destination being San Jose de los Llanos, which for Puerto de la Cruz is 38 kilometres, which isn't too bad, you know. I booked into an albergue and got to be there by 8 p.m. But I forgot all about the rather steep and long climb that is the start of the day, which was a bit brutal. So I had to make an early start at about 6 a.m, way before light, jump on the bus out of Puerto de la Cruz to get the bus back up, and yeah, get cracking again. So off we go. Long day. After 5 hours of non-stop hiking, I emerged onto the road once again, only 5 kilometres from Los Llanos and my home for the night. As I walked the final stretch, I found myself surrounded by the eerie remains of a lava field from the 1706 Trebajo volcano eruption. Lava from the eruption flowed all the way down to the sea, destroying the port of Garachico, at the time the most important port in Tenerife. After 6 days, I finally reached the Puerto de Santiago, home of the Hermitage of the Virgin of Carmen. This tiny chapel marks the end of the Camino and the end of my journey across Tenerife. I don't think I'll be in a hurry to walk this isolated and challenging Camino again, and certainly not alone, but I will cherish the memories of my time here on the trail and the opportunity it gave me to immerse myself in nature, silence, and solitude.